Okay, another question regarding the immersion cooling tanks. So do you need CDU for the immersion cooling system, and where does it go? And the question about the topology and so on and so forth. So you don't need and you don't have CDUs in immersion cooling system. The CDUs or coolant distribution units, these are sophisticated pump groups combined with the heat exchanger, which carefully regulated the flow rate and the temperature of the fluid which goes to the server racks in direct to chip cooling. So that's the CDU, usually rack-based or skid-based, frame-based coolant distribution units. We need to control very carefully the inlet temperature for the direct to chip to the chips, basically to the processors, because if you get below the dew point, we'll get into the condensation and then we'll basically ruin your servers because those culprits will start, getting sweating, and we don't want that. So that's why CDU is so important for the direct to chip cooling. But with the immersion cooling, I know that there are some companies which say that they have something which is called CDU inside of the tanks, but that it doesn't make any sense. It's not the CDU. What it is, it's a heat exchanger, and that's one of the companies. They were for some time they were basically just using immersion cooling for their own purpose. Recently, they also offer those very simple tanks, and they invented and patented the concept of having the heat exchanger, more or less standard heat exchanger, which is used for the air cooling also, and the pump located at the bottom. And that heat exchanger works in the way that it basically circulates the coolant through that heat exchanger by the means of that pump, and it's fully immersed into that tank. And that was the patented solution. And as far as I know, they had the litigation with the another supplier, which basically took the same tank, packaged that inside, and just named it CDU. It's not CDU. Is that the best solution? In my case, in my opinion, no, because for the eventual replacement of the pump or anything, you actually need to remove that unit. So basically, it affects the server. What I prefer, and that will be that's something, that's a very nice picture animation, which I stole from 2CRSI company. So sorry guys, too crazy. Company from France. They are also seasoned immersion cooling suppliers, server integrator. They produce their own servers for the immersion. So that's the quick pitch for them. Thank you again for that drawing. I prefer that method, which is basically the immersion tank and the heat exchanger and the pumps, which are located outside of the immersion bath. So it's basically, the heat exchanger would be better, more compact, more dense, more capable, and it will be readily accessible from outside of the tank, not immersed into the tank. The same for the pumps. I can have multiple pumps, which will be accessible from outside, from the tank. I will be able to better maintain them, replace them, control, monitor them, less challenges, less issues. So that's the method which we recommend. And there's a startup from Europe which had that idea taken from DOG. They package it, but it's not the best solution, honestly. So we don't need CDUs. We only need to have heat exchangers and the pumps which circulate the fluid internally within the tank and then exchange the heat to the outside water-based cooling loop, which delivers that 40 degrees warm water to the tank. So yeah, we don't need CDUs for the immersion cooling.